So I came across this idea of using a Pelican case on the top of my top plate, and I stumbled across a video by a YouTuber. I think her name is Lenore Fisher. Hope I got that right, but I'll put a link down below for her video. And while she's certainly not the first person to, you know, MacGyver a top case onto the back of the bike, that's just how I happened to come across the idea. And so this is a 24 GS 1250 Adventure. And before I talk about the case itself, I want to talk about for just a moment this Black Dog top plate. I think they call it a Helo pad. And let's see if I can do this with one hand on the camera. Get my case off. This top plate is absolutely phenomenal. Seriously, one of the best products I've ever put on any of my motorcycles. I started out with a top plate from a different company that makes a lot of really good quality products, but unfortunately, their top plate just really sucked. It was a cheesy design. It had a couple of like legs that would hook into where your passenger seat would go, and then it had a single pin up here that would go into the lock. You know how you lock the back seat on this kind of bike, and it was just really wobbly, really cheesy. I had absolutely no confidence whatsoever in it, so I got rid of that. Went with this. This thing is, it is bulletproof. It is amazing. It's very thick aluminum, super robust. I have hauled just about everything but the kitchen sink on this plate, and I don't have enough good things to say about it. Is that right? I have a lot of good things to say about it. Anyhow, so let me tell you the first mistake I did. And what I did is I bought this Mosko puck, and my first mistake was I thought I was being smart, and what I did is I clamped this on here with some wood clamps, and then I took a center punch, and I thought I had the center punch absolutely dead center between this space. I mean, it sure looked like it to me, but after I pulled this off and then drilled my holes, I discovered my center punch was not dead center, and I ended up off. And so now I have 4 useless holes in my plate, which pisses me off, but it's not like anybody's really going to see it. So what I did the next time around is I clamped this back on again, but this time I left it there, and I just simply put my drill in between here, and that way everything lined up. And then what I used as a guide to make sure that I had this thing on here correctly was Black Dog already has some pre-drilled holes here, so I just got those lined up in here, and then that allowed me to make sure I got this straight. The other thing I did was I drilled my holes so that my puck was kind of in the center of these runs, because that way that allowed me quite a bit of flexibility. I wasn't really sure how far forward or backwards I would want this thing initially, and then I used all stainless steel hardware. I think these were 1-inch fender washers, and then on the underside I made sure the bolts weren't too long, and then I used nylon lock nuts underneath it, which is really nice because it's super easy to just take an open end wrench and stick it in there, hold the nut, and then get your Allen wrench out and loosen these up, and that way you can kind of slide it back and forth. And that was important for me because obviously not only does it need to be in the right place, but I also wanted to use this as a backrest because I do a lot of really long distance rides. It's not uncommon for me to knock out 600 or 700 miles, 800 miles. I've done some long stuff, but it gets tiring on your back after a while, especially when you're almost 60. So that's why I wanted that flexibility to move this back and forth, so I could get it adjusted right where I wanted. Now, I opted for the Pelican Air. It's a little bit lighter than their normal cases. Plus, I mean, you can obviously buy a lot cheaper cases that are pretty good, but I wanted something that had a solid reputation, was made out of some pretty good quality plastic, and, you know, had a good seal and all that jazz. I went with the 1557, and then all this hardware, if I didn't mention it yet, I bought all stainless steel just so it wouldn't rust on me. And, you know, just kind of figured out where would be the best place to drill my holes, because obviously it's going to be different depending on what kind of case you get. And then for my spacers, I just used a bunch of stainless steel fender washers. Now, the woman I referenced earlier in her video, she used some pads that go, I think, underneath, between a skateboard and the wheels, whatever it's called. I'm not a skater, but I bought some of those off of Amazon, but then after I kind of started looking at this closer, I decided I didn't want anything that could be compressible. I wanted to be able to really crank down hard on these washers, just to hopefully keep the bolts from kind of wallowing out the holes in the plastic over time. I wanted to sandwich it together really good, so that's what I did. So not super pretty, but I mean, hell, you don't hardly ever see it anyway unless you're really looking for it. But the only other thing I have run into, I need to play around with a little bit, is this slides on here kind of stiff. I mean, I got to give it a little whack getting it on and off. I mean, there's just a tiny bit of a bind. I'll have to play around maybe with adjusting the tension on the screws and maybe even put a little lubricant or something in there between those two plates. I mean, it's not bad by any means, but it takes a little bit of nudging to get it off. And then the underside of it, which I don't think I even mentioned it all yet, but this puck is made by Mosko Moto, and I'll put a link for this stuff. And obviously what it's designed for typically is to use as an attachment for your panniers, but obviously it works really good for this. And if you mount it on here like I have it this direction, then you know, the case is always going to be going forward. I guess it's not, you don't have to worry about it somehow over time kind of wiggling off the back of the bike, which of course, I mean, it's a pretty steep angle anyway. It's not going anywhere. So I really like the setup. Again, I just need to kind of figure out what I have to tweak to get this to slide on here, because I really don't want to have to put any oomph on it, because I think that'll loosen things up over time. But the other slick thing about it is this pin, you know, it's lockable. So, I mean, you can put a lock here, put some locks on here, and that was the biggest thing for me. I've made a lot of trips and strapped a lot of stuff on the back and never had any problems, but you know, there's times you have to go into a rest area for a while, or you know, wherever you stop to get something to eat, you may not be able to have a good line of sight to your bike. And it's just, for me, it's just kind of a peace of mind being able to just lock everything up. And I mean, obviously anybody can get into anything if they want, but you know, it takes some effort. It's certainly a deterrent. So I haven't made any long trips with this thing yet. I will be coming up this weekend. I don't plan on loading up a bunch of heavy stuff in it. It's going to be used for basically, you know, just lightweight gear and odds and ends like that. I try to keep my heavier stuff in my Lone Rider bags. And then this case I bought from a company, I think they were called Colorcase, and they're a distributor for Pelican. But you could actually customize and get your own color latches, which I thought that was kind of cool. Got a little bit of red on the bike, plenty of blue, so I thought, why not go with red? But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about this thing. Really looking forward to using it. I think it's going to work out really slick. So yep, that's it.